Hello and welcome to the Dinosaw for week 31. Another 7 curious, interesting things I saw last week. So as ever, let's crack on. First one is a TV show from Netflix. I think this is Spain, called Falso Amor. It's just a really interesting example of kind of where you can stray into if you are commissioning TV shows and you want to stand out. And this is using AI within a sort of dating show, kind of one of those where you put people on an island with their spouses or their partners who aren't getting on particularly well, and you start to mess with them using false videos about them either sort of hooking up or whatever with one of the other contestants. And it's all about sort of a test of your morals and a test of your trust and that sort of thing. So it's kind of weird, but it's well worth a look at. There's a really interesting article that goes with this about where we may be straying into slightly dangerous territory, especially manipulating people's emotions and feelings and showing AI as this sort of bad actor in these things rather than good. But there you go. If you didn't know about that TV show, it's worth knowing about. So this is actually from Sam Altman, or it's actually from a thing called WorldCoin or World ID. Now, it's a little bit hard to explain, but you may have remembered maybe 2 years ago, the in thing was decentralized everything, Bitcoins and all those sorts of things. It's still there. However, how do you prove that you're human online, especially in today's AI world? Well, what you do is you sign up to this World ID and you go to the website and you find out where your nearest orb is. Now, that orb is what you see on screen. You can sign up on the website and be essentially an orb owner, and people can come to you as a business and have their retinas scanned. And that's what they do, is they stare into this thing and they get a token that says, yes, you have proved that you are real, and that then becomes this token that carries around with you on the internet. If you ever need to prove you're human, you use your World ID, and that comes with, essentially world tokens and all that sort of good stuff as well. So that is a thing. As I say, if you don't know who Sam Altman is, and Sam Altman is behind OpenAI, who's also behind ChatGPT and all that stuff. So there's some pedigree behind this, should we say. This is really interesting in as much as probably a couple of weeks ago I reported about how you can rip images from your brain, put somebody in an MRI scanner, get them to think of an image, and you can actually then render that. Now you can do that with music as well. Kinda, it's not exactly that, but what you do is you listen to enough people listening to music, and then what you do is use Google's Music LM, which is a prompt-based music platform. So instead of using words as prompts, you train it on the data to be prompts. So if you listen, for instance, for Britney Spears, and what you're seeing on screen, it's hard to tell, but basically the thing on the left-hand side, if you look at the spectrum of the music it generated, it's not a million miles away. It gets the tempo, it gets the style of the music. So what it does is it regenerates music that is in the style of, and it's not a million miles off. So if you have thought of a piece of music in your head, or if you've got sort of a song that you're inventing in your head, then in the future it might just be able to render that into actual audio for other people to hear. So that's happening. This is Shopify Sidekick, and this is the latest part of their magic sort of platform, really. Lots of AI going on there, but this is really interesting. It's like a site builder. So if you have your Shopify site, Shopify is an e-commerce platform, really. There's lots of things that if you wanted, for instance, just to ask it, okay, what's doing really well right now? Okay, why aren't I earning the same amounts I used to? And then you can say, okay, can you put everything of a certain type on sale? And you can just use your text prompts to do that, and it will do it for you. So it's a really, really powerful feature that probably is a great co-pilot to your shop as well, and probably to your earnings, but also it does away with needing to actually fiddle with the site. So essentially you're putting a designer out of the mix as well. So that's really worth looking at. If you do use Shopify, then you should probably be looking into that. So I can see this happening to things like WordPress and the like as well, and Wix and GoDaddy and things like that. So if not, it should be on their list. Flipper Zero, if you have a Flipper Zero, well done. I have one. They are quite interesting. You can get up to a lot of mischief with these things. If you don't know what they are essentially little hacking devices that you can buy on the internet. I think they're about £170. Quite hard to find at the moment. Amazon has banned them because you can do some slightly dodgy stuff. You can do card skimming with them, for instance. You can do all sorts of things. You can affect infrared, Wi-Fi, NFCs, and that sort of thing. However, there's now an app store essentially within the app if that makes sense, on your phone, because you can connect it via an app, and you can download all sorts of very interesting things, from games to, you know, software and packet analyzers and that sort of thing. So if you've got one of those, that's also worth looking, because this is basically a whole bunch of mischief that's dead easy to add as well. PanoHead, we've seen quite a lot of these experiments along the way, trying to sort of take a lot of photos and turn them into 3D or animated avatar heads. And we've seen quite a lot where you take, for instance, a photo and it can animate a few degrees of freedom or make them blink and smile and those sorts of things. So this is making a full 3D head out of one single photo. So this is actually from the University of Wisconsin, but also with ByteDance as well. So there's some commercial stuff behind this as well. So really, this is kind of interesting. So where would this go? Well, this would be avatars, or it could be sort of virtual assistants, that sort of thing. You can imagine this on LinkedIn. If you want to see what I look like, then that's what I look like. But this is a real step ahead where I won't go into it because it's quite difficult to do, but it kind of uses generative algorithms, but also NeRFs, which are these kind of neuro radiance fields to sort of generate the stuff. The biggest problem from what I saw it having was joining the hair at the back, or at least inventing the hair at the back. So as you watch these 3D marvels in front of you, just sort of, again, marvel at the hair at the back, the way it's figured out how to join it together. But there you go. And finally, this is fake out of home. Now, if you don't know, I'm relatively involved in out of home, which is billboards to the rest of us. Now, there's quite a lot of these appearing on TikTok and on LinkedIn and you know, everywhere else, Instagram, Facebook, and these are sort of fake out of home, fake billboards. So there's a really good article from Mel Arrow, who's the Chief Strategy Officer, I think, at McCann London, just basically saying, like, you know, what's this all about, and is this maybe destructive to out of home, or is this a positive thing for out of home? However, if you're seeing these sorts of things, the reason I thought I'd put this in there is I keep seeing these on LinkedIn, and I keep feeling like I need to be the Grinch and going in there and say, like, you do realize this is fake, right? This is not a real thing. So, you know, you've got kind of the shirts in, you know, the historic monuments. You've got Barbie at the Burj Khalifa, and you've got the London Underground. I think that was for Maybelline. You know, all these are fake. It's just CGI, but it's borrowing from the good work, essentially, that the world of out of home is doing. And if you've ever seen these sort of anamorphic 3D real billboards that look 3D, then that's what they're really leaning on. But so I'm really, really pleased actually for the out of home industry that this is now something worth faking. But we're trying to figure out what the word is for it, and I quite like, I won't tell you who coined it, but I quite like poo. These are poo adverts. So these are sort of pretend out of home, shall we say. So there you go. These potentially, look out for poo adverts and just be careful commenting on them. Anyway, there you go. Hopefully that was interesting. Hopefully it was useful. If it was, give it a like, share it with somebody else, and I will see you next week.